church on earth, the church militant that we're all part of, as the Catechism teaches us, is incomplete, obviously, without women. We all need each other. But it's true that we're different. Right? They're not going to report that in the news tomorrow and have me cancelled. Right? We're different. We're different. So it's not a bad idea every so often for men to get together and to hear a few home truths. Because I think we men, we like tough talk. We like to hear it straight. We like to get it, as it is. No frills, no trills. And I hope that's what I'm going to do my best to offer you a little bit today, together with all the other speakers and with the Legion of Mary. Now, I don't see any women here, and I'm not sure, I hope no one here identifies as a woman. But I hope we all identify with a woman, with the woman, and the Legion of Mary, the woman. No man is complete without a woman. And I don't think any Christian is truly complete without the woman. But the beautiful thing is, she makes us even more manly in our faith. And so we place, and I know Luke has already done it, and you've been doing it for weeks now, praying for all of you, and there's lots of adoration and fasting and prayers have been offered. But we place this whole day under her mantle. We renew our consecration to her immaculate heart. You see, the Legion of Mary, and these lads in particular, they're not being completely honest with you. They have a secret weapon. You know what I mean? And anyone who understands true consecration to Mary knows what I'm talking about. You think, gosh, how come they're so full of enthusiasm? How come they're going out there and doing all this? And how come God's blessing them so much in many ways? And they know it's her. She's the secret. She's the secret for evangelization, as we'll hear about later on. She's also the secret for sanctification and for being truly what we're called to be. She makes the path to Jesus quicker, easier, and much surer. People say, I want to go directly to Jesus. Well, then you need to go through Mary, because every other way is very tortuous. She's the quick, direct, straight path to the heart of Jesus. But anyway, I'm not here to talk directly about Our Lady. I want to present for your consideration the words of two men, two of the most manly men you'll find in the entire Bible. And both have the same name. Both have the same name. Both have the name Yeshua, right? Or Joshua, right? It's actually the same as the name Jesus. When Our Lady called, she didn't say, here, come here, Jesus. She said, Yeshua, come here. Right? That's what you would have heard if you lived and walked in Palestine in the first century and heard someone calling after Jesus. You would have heard Yeshua, right? And the same with Yeshua, Joshua. Who is Joshua? Joshua was the servant of Moses. Again, is a great example of what it is to be a man. But Joshua was a servant, and Moses, as you know, brought the people through the desert. For 40 years they wandered in the wilderness, and Moses wasn't allowed by God to cross into the promised land. So when he died, Joshua's servant became the leader of God's people. And Joshua marched the people across the River Jordan to take possession of the promised land. Joshua's time of leadership was a time of battle, of warfare, of struggle for survival, of living on pure faith, on pure trust in God. I mean, these were a relatively small, poor group of nomads who were complete strangers to this foreign land, coming into these well-established peoples who had cities and fortifications and armies and huge walls. And God said, "In go, take possession of the land. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. And on one occasion, St. Michael the Archangel, who's not explicitly mentioned, but it says that the commander of the army of the Lord appears to Joshua. And he says, are you for us or are you against us? And he says, I come to you as commander of the armies of the Lord. And he tells him how to conquer then Jericho. Anyway, after all his battles and all the comings and goings, towards the end of, once he's sort of established the people in the Holy Land, haven't completely conquered it yet, that won't be complete to the time of David, King David, it would be 400 years later. But already they're well enough established. And Joshua gathers all the Israelites and he brings them together. And he says these words. It was actually in today's, for those of you who pray the Divine Office, it was today's Office of Readings. And he says, so now, Joshua says, fear the Lord and serve him perfectly and sincerely. Put away the gods that your ancestors served beyond the river and in Egypt, and serve the Lord. But if you will not serve the Lord, choose today whom you wish to serve. Whether the gods that your ancestors served beyond the river, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you are now living. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. I have a friend, passed away last year, a great man, and he had that written up beautifully on his wall of his house. As for me and my family, we will serve the Lord. And that was his statement as a father, as a husband, as the man of the house. This house belongs to God. And I'm not making any apologies, and I'm not going to make any excuses, and I'm not going to try and explain myself to anybody. You walk through the door of this house, you're in the house of a man and of a family that serve the Lord. That's the right of every man. Every man in his house, whether you live there alone or with others. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. What does he do then? This is a real Joshua thing to do. He likes rocks for some reason, right? And what does he do? He says, so the people obviously say, well, we will serve the Lord. And Joshua knows they're fickle. You know what I mean? And they're going to fall for the temptation to worship the gods of the local gods, the ones of war and the ones of fertility and the ones of fruitfulness and of rain. And he says, don't do it. You're going to mess up, and then God's going to be angry. I'm summarizing. And then the people answered Joshua, no, it is the Lord we wish to serve. And then it says, that day Joshua made a covenant for the people. He laid down a statute and ordinance for them at Shechem. Joshua wrote these words in the book of the law of God. Then he took a great stone and set it up there, under the oak in the sanctuary of the Lord. And Joshua said to all the people, see, this stone shall be a witness against us, because it has heard all the words that the Lord has spoken to us. It shall be a witness against you in case you deny your God. Then Joshua sent the people away. Now, what does Joshua teach us? You could talk a lot about this passage in Scripture. It's very inspiring. But I think he teaches us that to be men of God, and in fact, just to be men, we have to take a clear decision. We have to make a choice. See, as Proverbs says, the man who walks on two paths will end up stumbling on one. One of the great dangers and threats against sanctification, against our own growth in holiness, our union with God, and our achieving success in this world. And what is success in this world? It's reaching heaven, right? It's being the person God created me to be. It's allowing Christ to bring me to the fullness of life for which I was born in baptism, right? So what is one of the threats? Is ambivalence, ambiguity, half-heartedness, lukewarmness. Jesus said, give me hot or give me cold, but the lukewarm I will vomit from my mouth. Lukewarmness. tepidity. Don't rock the boat. Keep your head down. Don't stand out. Go with the flow. Be one of the lads. Right? And that's the temptation, to serve other gods, the local gods, the gods that everyone else is used to, the gods that are more accepted, the gods that fit in more with our lifestyle, with the modern world, the gods that you can worship without anyone saying, look, are you weird? What are those gods for us? The god of football? You can have your big Liverpool flag out the window, the back of your car, wear it about, tattoo it. No one's going to go, here you're weird. They're going to go, right, lad. Right? God of football. And it's nothing, I have nothing against football. I love watching a match. But have people turned it into their God? Spending money, traveling countries, worshipping it. Right? Other gods. The God of drink. God of alcohol. The God of, going about partying, going to the pubs, drinking more than we need to, spending more than we need to, neglecting our families, neglecting our friends, neglecting our God. Again, nothing wrong with drink. I enjoy one as much as anyone else. But when it becomes a God, and no one's going to judge you for spending Friday night, Saturday night, and other nights in the pub. No one. Right? Because there are local gods. They're local gods. And we could go on. I'm not going to go through them all. You know yourselves, the gods I'm talking about, that no one's going to look at you strange. But you stand up and you say, here, I'm away to my permie. I'm away to do Holy Hour. Here, I'll come, but I'm going to Mass first and see you later. Right? You know what I mean? All the slabbering, right? Just kind of comes out, move. I haven't even thought about it, it's already out. Where's that coming from? Where's that coming from? Why is it seen as strange for a man, a Catholic man, in a Catholic country to practice his faith and to believe in it and to stand by its values? We need to man up, right, in our faith. Because when enough people man up, it begins to change the flow of the river. Things begin to change. Now, the manning up here of Joshua, as you notice, isn't him sticking his chest out and saying, look at me, I'm the big lad, I believe in God. You got a problem with that? That's not manning up. That's not Joshua. Joshua's saying, listen, you do what you want. And best luck to you. For me and my house, we will serve the Lord. It's about giving a witness which isn't in your face, pushing people and making them feel that but just saying, I am unapologetically a servant of the Lord. And if you come into my house, that's who we serve. Do you see the difference? So that's something to think about. Today, I hope that we can make a choice. And I know this is about confessions, don't worry, this all ties in. Today is about making a choice. Every good retreat is about making or renewing a decision. A decision for God. St. Ignatius of Loyola had the great meditation of the two binaries, or the two armies. And it was about deciding who are you going to serve. And ultimately we know there's no such thing as other gods. There's only God. And then he who mimics God. Satan. He wants to mimic him. And as Luke rightly said, God doesn't have opposites. There's no yin to his yang. You get me? There's no the good force and the dark force and the light force. It doesn't work that way. There's only God. He is everything. He is the source of all being. The beginning and the end, the Alpha and the Omega. But Satan is the prince of this world. He is the prince of this world. And so Satan is the one that you're actually serving when you serve these other gods. Don't take my word for it. St. Paul explains it. He says they were worshipping demons without knowing it.